All right, welcome back to my blind followers. But today, it's rainy outside. We're taking a break from that gazebo build. We're going to get a little fitness content in today. Not lifting yet today. It's still inside of that break period that we're taking off from lifting for a week. And that's one reason why we're doing the gazebo build. Fill that time there, but just kind of stay a little active. But today, I want to talk to you guys about the upcoming training block. So I've taken some time and thinking about how I kind of want to train, and this is kind of what I've come up with, because I don't want to do a push-pull legs. I don't want to stay on the same bro split that I've been doing. I want to change up my rep and sets for volume and how I'm doing them, but I want to have some volume specific workouts and some kind of strength specific workouts. So they're going to kind of blend together a little bit, but not too much. So basically what I decided was I'm going to do a heavy leg day, then a light chest day, a heavy back day. We'll have a rest day. That's going to be active rest. We'll get into that. Then a heavy chest day, light legs, light back. And we'll break those down here in a moment. But basically my thought is if I have a heavy workout, then a light workout, it gives my body some time to recover. And when I say light, I'm not meaning like we're not pushing it, but the weight load itself is going to be lower. So it's not like we're hitting those big compound lifts with insane numbers that we're just wrenching on the body with. We're still going to be training to failure, just at a lighter weight number with a little more volume in it. So we're still going to be getting growth, but a little more of that hypertrophy style, strictly training. So much more of the bodybuilding style with just a lot of hypertrophy focus there on the light days. The heavy days are going to have some heavy compound lifts in it with some hypertrophy work. So kind of like how we were doing our bro split, but now it's going to be a little more broken up. So basically what I've come up with here is we're going to end up starting out our heavy leg day here, hip thrusts. And the reason why I'm doing this is because in the last split I started doing like glute kickbacks, hip thrusts as kind of the beginning of my workout, and it was actually making my squats better. I was getting rid of the lower back pain, I was getting more glute and ham activation, and I was overall had better depth and form. So I want to make sure I'm still doing that. But, so hip thrust, 135 for 10 reps, 185 for 10 reps, and then 225 for 3 sets of 10. So we're going to be putting in some weight and volume here. Just getting those glutes and the hammies to really fire. So that'll be good. Then we're going to go ahead and move into the glute kickbacks again. So again, we're just getting warmed up. We're getting the hips loose. We're getting those glutes really fired up and ready to be under load. And with that, we're going to go 10 pounds for 15 reps, 20 pounds for 15 reps, and 30 pounds for 3 sets of 15. So there's quite a bit of volume here. So we're going to have a big glute and hamstring pump before we even get ready to start squatting. I'm not too worried if it overall takes a little bit away from the squat initially at first, because I know in the long run it's going to benefit me greatly, because I have a very hard time with the glute and hamstring activation during my squat and them just kind of being tight. So it kind of hinders me on getting the hips to be mobile enough to actually squat to depth while under load. So I think by doing this, it's going to be a big benefit. We'll be able to feel the glutes already. They'll be pumped up, so we should be able to activate them even more than we have been. So what we're going to do here, leaning into the strength side of things, is 3 rep sets on our barbell squat, because it's our compound lift and this is the heavy day. By doing that, we're going to go 95 pounds, 135, 185, 225, and then we'll see where we get from there. So we did do sets of 5 at 225 and a set at 245. And then after that, we kind of went back into that like singles range, pushing our weights up. We got to 80, I think, for a squat, is what we successfully pulled off. I'd have to go way back and look. That was like a month ago. But with that, that's the plan so far. Then going past that, we're going to get into barbell shrugs. Because this is a heavy day, we're going to hit them on the barbell. We haven't done barbell shrugs in a very long time, since last year sometime. We've been doing them with the dumbbells, staying nice and isolated. But with the grips, we found out that we can blast out sets of 30 with the 70s. And that's the heaviest dumbbell I have right now. And dumbbells aren't in the priority of equipment I want to buy next. I actually kind of want to buy a hip thrust bar. Make things a little more easy and more activatable for the glutes. And then, other than that, I want a leg extension, leg curl machine. That's a bit more pricey than the bar. So, don't know what we're going to do there yet. Probably the bar first, then that machine, and we'll just get there over time. A little bit at a time is going to build us a full gym. So, we just got to get there. Then, unless our follower count goes up. So, speaking of followers, hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit that like button. Help me, help this channel grow. Because eventually what I want to do is be able to, one, buy more equipment here, but two, if we grow this to be something successful enough and, be able to buy a home in a better state than here with a little bit of land, I kind of want to build a gym on the property that would be open to the public, basically, is more or less would be the goal. So it would be private/public gym. So with that, then we're going to go ahead and finish that day off with forearm curls and forearm extensions. I haven't done them in a long time, been ignoring them. I really want to work on my forearm growth. It needs to catch up. I want to increase my grip strength some, but also too, I need to increase this wrist stability and strength because it does get kind of weak and tender after bench pressing and deadlifts and all that stuff. This is the arm I broke, so it needs a little focus. So they're getting thrown back in. Then after that, we're going to move into our light chest day. So it's going to start off with pullovers, getting those lats worked up, warmed up, getting that drive and pull downwards, because having real strong lats that you can engage under depth is where you're going to get a lot of that drive out of the hole in your bench press, along with your chest strength, which for me, when I do pullovers, I get a lot of lower and mid pec engagement, especially once I get past here and I'm coming through this point here. The amount of engagement I get is quite large. So to me, I get a really good chest pump with it while getting the lats fired up. Then cable flies. Again, light day, so a bunch of volume. We're going to hit those for 5 sets of 15 and 30 pounds and just really pump a bunch of blood in. If we can do some more, we'll do more. I don't know yet. These weights and rep sets are preliminary. But then into the incline dumbbell press. So this is the heavier focused chest workout for the day on our light day. But 40 pounds for 12 reps, 55 pounds for 12 reps, and then we're going to go into the 70 pounders for 3 sets of 12. That's what we're going to bang out for that chest day. Should be pretty easy. No big hassle there. But it's going to give us a real big chest pump, huge stretch, and really work on keeping those shoulders healthy and getting some extra stability built in them, because they're isolated and separated from each other, which you lose a little bit of when you're on the barbell. Then we get to go ahead and move into some single arm tricep extensions. We're going to hit those for 5 sets of 20. Then once we bang those out, overhead tricep extensions. So we get to go from targeting that short head and being single arm to going two-handed overhead tri extension to really focus in on that long head of the tricep. Then right after that, we're just going to go ahead and finish it up with some calf raises. We'll do that on the hack squat machine with 220 pounds, so 455s for 5 sets of 20. One of the things I want to focus on during this training block with getting my forearms bigger is getting those calves bigger. Those little guys, they kind of lacking behind. It's starting to look like I got some little stick legs. Then, into day 3, heavy back. So again, 3 rep range here to start with the deadlifts. But we're going to go 135, 225, 275, 315, 365. And I've got a question mark here because I don't know where the next set of 3 is going to land after 365. So I know I can't pull 405 for 3 yet. That's the goal to work up to, for sure. So it probably might be like a 385, maybe 390. Might be where we're going to try to shoot for. But first, we got to get that 365 number, which that shouldn't be no big deal. Because we pulled 335 for 8. So it should be no problem there to pull 365 for 3. Then, lat pull downs. 5 sets, 20 reps, 140 pounds is where we're going to start those guys back out at. I want to start working on that pull-up strength because we did the Murph. I tell you what, pull-ups suck. Then, we got barbell shrug again. So, 135 by 15, or sorry, not again. Yeah, again. 135 by 15, 185 by 15, 225 by 15. And the reason why I'm doing them slightly heavier on this day and for 15 rep sets, because it's our heavy back day. So I really want to make sure I'm getting that huge load into the triceps after we've already deadlift. So it's going to add a bunch of extra fatigue to them. Then, dumbbell rows. We're going to keep going with the dumbbells for now, but we're going to try to pump this up to 5 sets of 15 instead of our 3 sets of 15. So we'll add a bunch of volume there. We should be failing. Then, we're going to go into preacher curls. 5 sets, 20 reps. I'm thinking 15-pound dumbbell is probably where we'll land on those. It's a little heavy for the preachers for me because it's so stripped. And this little bicep tendon over here gets a little angry sometimes. But then easy bar curls right after that. 3 sets of 12, thinking 65 pounds. Should be a pretty easy and doable weight. Then we're going to have a rest day. But our rest days are going to be an active rest. So we're going to hit a 5-mile walk or 2 2.5s. I haven't decided how I want to break that down yet. But either way, that's a 10,000 step day. Then we're going to come in here. We're going to hit some cable crunches, some leg lifts, and some axe chops. The reason why I want to do that is I'm not going to be tired and fatigued. I can focus on just doing abs by themselves. I'm not tired at the end of a workout and I basically half-ass them just to get them done. I can then focus on those strictly and just have a good ab day. Because I do want to build some more core strength. It's really the only way we're going to do it. So with that, the cable crunches, obviously, we're going to get a lot of upper and mid activation from that. Leg lifts, we're going to get a lot more lower activation from that. And then axe chops, we're going to get some obliques into it. And overall, just upper, mid, and lower ab activation from that swinging across motion. So I'm thinking that overall will help build quite a bit more core stability and just kind of help with also the spinal erectors because I'm pulling into them. So it's going to help strengthen some of the lower back. If I had a way to do back extensions, those would be added here. But I don't have a bench for back extensions. Is what it is. But then we're going to go ahead and go into our heavy chest day. That's probably the day I'm most excited about because I love benching. That and deadlifts. But the other thing you can see here is I have a heavy day, a light day, a heavy day, another light day, and then a heavy day. So they are spread out from each other. I don't have a heavy back-to-back. But then we're going to go ahead and start flat bench. We're going to start off there, 3 reps, because it's our heavy compound lift. 95, 135, 185, 225, 245. Then a question mark. So I know we can put up 245 for 3. Now, how far above that we can get for 3, not quite sure. We haven't been benching like that. We've been benching in singles, basically above 245. So that's why that question mark is there. If this is like a 255, we'll get rid of the 245 and that'll become 255, and then we'll start trying to push for that next by 3. Then, cable presses. Since we just hit our heavy bench, I want to keep up with that heavy load emphasis. So by hitting cable presses, which are across the chest press, I can keep the weight real high and get a real solid load with the biggest range of motion possible, because we're starting way back here, fully extended, coming all the way across past where a fly would be, and finishing way over here. So it's the furthest we can get a contraction to. So yes, the stretch is the most important part of a movement, but so is range of motion. So you want to make sure you can get way deep and come all the way across under some big heavy load. Then we're going to go from cable presses into side raises. So now we're going to get into some of the shoulder stuff. So 10 pounds, 10 reps, 15 pounds for 10 reps, and then 25 pounds for 3 sets of 10. Now this here is one of those workouts that feels good for the most part, but can and does affect this delt insertion over here. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind while doing those. That's why the weight doesn't get super crazy. It's small jumps, just a bit more volume. Instead of just 3 sets with only 1 at that higher weight, we're going to try to do 2 at that higher weight. Then, rear cable flies. 5 sets, 20 reps, 20 pounds. Right now we're doing 3 sets, like a set of 10 and then 2 sets of 20. So we're just adding 3 more sets there total, but all at 20 pounds. So should put quite a bit more emphasis into the rear delts. Oh, my current sets are 15 reps. So we're adding reps and volume and sets. So rear delts hopefully should get pretty beat up and extremely focused at this point. Then we're going to go from rear cable flies into tri press downs, 5 sets of 20, 40 pounds. And we'll finish up with dips on our chest day. So again, that big deep stretch, triceps being engaged there because they're a big secondary. So that day, going to be super solid. And again, that gets into some of the shoulder mobility stuff with that big super deep stretch. So then we have our light leg day finally. Glute kickbacks again. So not going to worry about going over that. Same as before. We got our calf raises, 220 for 5x20, again on the hack squat. Then we've got leg presses. So with the leg press, which is our vertical leg press, we're going to go 135 for 10, 225 for 10, and then 315 for 3x10. So that's upping our highest weight that we've been at on there, but now for 3 sets. So should have some really good activation there, get a real good pump going and some extra load. So we're really trying to get the legs to grow. Another reason why we've got 2 leg days in here and calves are spread out through here. We got glute kickbacks and hip thrusts as a big focus. So overall, we're trying to really develop some leg development to start matching our upper body. Not only that, but the legs are the biggest muscle in the group. So if we could get those to grow, we'll burn more calories, we'll get leaner faster over time. Then, after our glute kickbacks, calf raises, leg press, then we're going to go ahead and move into hack squats. So we're going to go ahead and hit that guy for 160 pounds for 5 sets of 10. That is going to be a massive struggle. But, again, if we can't do it at the 160, we'll drop back to 110. But I really want to start ramping up the leg volume, because I do want my squat to get better. I want it to feel more stable and everything else. And the only way to do that is just by getting that leg volume in and just getting them guys under load. So then we'll go ahead and we'll get into dumbbell shrugs. We're going to go 5 sets to failure. The reason why we're doing that is because we can do a lot of reps with those 70 pounders. So it's going to take a while on those first 2 sets. Set 3, 4, and 5, they'll definitely be quite a bit shorter, but I do know I could do 2 sets of 30. So that 3rd set probably be like 22 to 25. 4th set, probably fairly similar, like 18 to 24 would be my guess. The 5th set, hoping to be failing around like 15. So we'll find out when we get there, but they will be brutal either way. Then, forearm curls and forearm extensions. We're finally back to those little guys. That brings us into the last day of this training block for actual lifting. Day 7 ends up being a light back day. Seated rows. We love us some seated rows. 5 sets, 20 reps, 140 pounds is where we're going to start out there. For the most part, we'll probably normally hit these with the close grip. Maybe we'll throw in a few days here and there, or maybe a set after that with a wide grip to really focus on rhomboids inner trap versus, say, lats and rear delt. But that's where we're starting there. Then we're going to go into pull-ups. 5 sets to failure. So the reason why I put that there is my goal overall is to be able to get to like 5 sets of 15 would be cool. But I know I can't do 5 sets of 15. So it's going to be at failure. First set, I'm going to struggle for probably like 10. Second set, I might hit like 8 and fail, and so on. So I found that out during the Murph. My pull-up game sucks. Then, rear cable flies. Again, get into those rear delts. 5 sets, 20 reps, 20 pounds. Then we're going to hit some dumbbell overhead presses. This is finally getting our heavy like shoulder movement in, putting on our light back day, just because it kind of falls along with that. It always kind of feels good to have the back and everything nice and loose and fired up when you're getting into doing overhead presses for some reason. It always feels best for me. So with that, 25 pounds for 10, 40 pounds for 10, 55 pounds for 10. Then the kicker is 70 pounds, 3 sets of 10. We're currently at 1 set of 10 and then I stop. So I don't know where I'm going to fall on set 2 and 3 at 70 pounds, but we're shooting to get up to 3 sets of 10 there. Then dumbbell curls. These are all at 15 reps. 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 25 pounds, 30 pounds. That's what we're currently planning. That's going to work along with how much this little tendon can take. So that's all going to be up to what the body can feel and not necessarily what I can lift, because that's my limiting factor when it comes to curls, is really this tendon just kind of getting angry for some reason. I don't know why it gets angry, but it does. So definitely something I'm going to be talking to my doctor to here in like 2.5 weeks. And we're going to finish up with rope curls. 5 sets, 20 reps, 40 pounds. We are just looking for a big pump when we finish up like that. So big squeezes, probably fairly quick tempo, but all of the blood we can get pushed into the biceps. Then with that, day 8 brings us to our next active rest day. So again, 5-mile walk, 10,000 steps, with our cable crunches, leg lifts, axe chops. This is what I think is going to benefit me the most. This is how we're going to train for the next 90 days once we get back here into the gym here in a couple days. I know tomorrow, working on gazebo. Hopefully, Saturday, I'll be able to get the roof panels on and it buttoned up. And then either Sunday or Monday, we'll go ahead and get back in here, get this going, because I am actually itching to get a workout in. But I told myself, taking a week off, we're going to recover, we're going to let everything rest, let the central nervous system come back to normal, let the body stabilize. We've been eating a bit in a surplus for the last few days, working on bringing that surplus down a little bit. But we're going to be focusing on right about 2,150-ish calories is where we're planning this diet block at. We're not really going to vary from there. Getting much below that kind of affected my weight loss. It stalled it out because I got too low of a deficit. So we're replacing eating less with doing cardio. 2,150 calories still might be a little low, but it shouldn't be so low that my body goes back into starvation mode. So we'll see what happens there. We are natural, so I really don't think I need to be much above that. I have low T. My metabolism is probably not that great. So calorically, I'm not going to be able to eat, 2,700, 3,000 calories a day without putting on weight. So that will be at 243 grams of protein, 127 grams of carbs, and 70 grams of fat is where the diet's falling. So plenty of protein. Carbs should be efficient to keep energy levels up. Fats, nice solid number. So with that, guys, this is what we have planned out for the next 90 days. Should be pretty brutal. These heavy numbers here, we're looking to push those up. That is our goal of this block. We're eating in maintenance, and we're just looking to get stronger. We're shooting for overall to be able to bench 315 for 3 to 5 by the end of this. Squat 315 for 3 to 5 at the end of this. Deadlifts, I would like to be able to get to... I would like to see like a 445, 450 deadlift by the end of this block. I was able to pull 420 for one during the last block before we backed off of everything. So we'll see if we can add 30 more pounds. It's going to be a struggle. So with that, that's where I'm going to leave you guys off at. Make sure you're out there working towards your goals, getting your stuff done. Most of all, just don't be a lazy fuck.